right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back, and it's time for us to get started with our analysis this morning. So I'm going to pull up the bias chart, and we're going to get started. Okay, so let's go to the euro dollar first and foremost, and let's get started there. Okay, so here's the euro. All right, so the euro dollar, we had a couple key developments last week. So let me delete this stuff, and let's talk about what had happened at the end of the week last week. Okay, and this really I don't need it right now, because that just shows you more of the longer term outlook of the euro dollar, which is the big flag pull basically, but it has nothing to do with like current analysis, so that's why I removed it. All right, now if you go back to let's go back to this daily chart. So if you look at what the euro did last week, we got a squeeze, right? The euro rallied back to the underside of this trend line. We almost got there. We got to 110.70, okay? 110.70, I guess, 110.72 on Friday. So it was really, really amazing price action, how we just rallied to there on Friday and just turned. I mean, it was like wow, I can't believe we went all the way up there on Friday due to the weak personal income, personal spending, and I mean the ECI, the employment cost index, didn't come in that bad, but the dollar got crushed, and I think a lot of that had to do basically with just a short squeeze. All it was is positioning, and we just squeezed all the way up to where we were at pre ECB meeting. We basically filled that gap. The hourly gap right there. We went right to pre, ECB meeting and rolled over. Now, when we opened on yesterday morning, we were trading at 110.40. It was actually trading at 110.40 before trading was open for me anyway. And I almost shorted the Aussie, excuse me, I almost shorted the euro there, and then I'm like, I'm gonna wait. But if we can get a rally back up towards 111, I am going to take a pop shot at it today. So when you're looking at like PMIs, especially the ISM PMI is expecting, and this is, remember, this is the manufacturing PMI, which is not, in my opinion, it's not the important PMI. The services PMI is going to be the more important PMI data, which comes in on Wednesday. But if the ISM manufacturing PMI, let's say, comes in at 49.9, just a sliver below expectations, and the euro starts to rally, if we get to 111, I'm going to be a seller. Now, one of the other things you have to take into consideration is this. See this trend line here? See that? We drew that on Friday, and we actually stopped there and then reversed, okay? Now, if we break through that, that'll probably give us enough oomph to really squeeze up to 111. I'm a seller there. Now, let's say that the data is really bad. Like, let's say it comes in at 49 even, which would be a really bad print. I would not be doing that trade. Okay, so it depends where the ISM PMI comes in at. I mean, obviously, if we're well below expectations, I'm not shorting the euro dollar. All right, if it's near expectations and the euro starts to rally, then I'll be, likely to short it up there. Now, the flip side is if it's a great number, like let's say it comes in at 50.5, okay? The ISM PMI comes in at 50.5, I'll probably be shorting the euro, because what will happen is the euro will probably slip below this 110.90 level, okay? Okay, because that's going to be support. So I'm gonna write down resistance a couple places. Okay, first of all, resistance will be right here at 110.60, and then basically I'm gonna just say 111. Okay, so two levels of resistance for the euro: 110.60, 111. It is still a bearish bias while we're below that yellow dotted line. Okay, while we're below that yellow trend line, it's still a bearish bias. Okay, so in other words, while we're below here, excuse me, it's still bearish. Support is 109.90. Below 109.90 exposes a, a retest of this 109. And like I said, if the PMI numbers come in strong, they come in at they come in at, like, let's say, yeah, 50.5, 50.3, 51. I mean, I'm going to be shorting the euro dollar today. Okay, I just got to figure out where to do it. All I know is if we break through this support, it should really start to expose some downside. Okay, oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's go there. So 1.0990. Okay, that's support. That's key support for bulls. Bulls need to keep that number intact. Okay, let's go over to the pound. Should have got more coffee. I did not, but it's okay. Here's the cable. So the cable's had a nice night overnight. Now the pound, check out this, breakage. All right. So the pound, by breaking this this downtrend line here, that's damaged that downtrend that we've had. We have the downtrend in the pound, or excuse me, in the euro. Okay, we got a downtrend in the or an uptrend in the Swissy. The cable, we had a nice downtrend trying to develop, and then all of a sudden we're cracking it. So this right here, okay, is giving the cable a bit of a boost. Now, what's great about that is if we have a weak PMI number today, that is going to be a real nice breakout. Okay, so $155.10, I think, is what we've always had written down, but I'm gonna write it. Yeah, 155.10. So if we have a weak ISM, got to keep the pound on the radar today. Okay, we're back to neutral here. Support. So if you're looking at the hourlies here, or look something like that. But anyway, what that tells us is really that this is really critical support then. Okay, like bulls don't want to see that give up. So 154.20. Okay, that's going to be support for today. All right, let's go over to the Swissy. So the Swissy, I'm not too sure what happened here. Maybe somebody caught this, whatever happened at this point. Swissy was looking decent at some point overnight, in Europe, and then all of a sudden we slipped. And I guess it was, I mean, retail sales were in line. Maybe there's some the internal data on the retail sales that I didn't catch, but anyway, what that does is that puts the support back into play. Okay, so this is important, right? And see why. That comes in at 98.45, and resistance. I mean, we can just do this. And we wrote down, remember on Friday, we wrote down 99.10. I mean, we literally hit 99 like 11 and then just poof, bottom fell out of it, right? Okay, so what's boxing us in right now? 99 cents, 98.45, 98.45.9900. It's still bullish. We're still bullish as we are, still outside of this, this yellow trend line. We can come all the way back down to, 97.75, which we talked about last week, and it'll still be in a bullish trend. The problem with it, though, is that, for today, the problem with it is we're really struggling at just, some minor resistance levels, right? We need to really start overcoming, these prices again, 99. Actually, you know what? I'm going to write that down. That's Friday's highs. So that if we took out 99.10, that would be pretty bullish for the Swissy. Okay. All right. Let's go to the dollar yen. So the dollar yen, with the BOJ not extending quantitative easing, that's put the risk of a move now below this level, but it's all about risk aversion and risk appetite. So if stocks come under pressure, this support will come into play. Okay, and that's 120.20. Okay, 120.20. That's key support. Now resistance, really key resistance is way up here, but that's obviously not something that we're paying attention to at the moment. Let me take we spike down, then we hit a high, so we're going to take that high, right, all the way down to these lows, which basically it's the same low as this low. It's a 38% retracement, so really, I guess, 120.80 right there. 120.80 is resistance at the moment. Now, obviously if the ISM number comes in strong, you might get a squeeze back up above 121. I just don't know how much I would expect out of it. Yeah, you're going to have to watch risk appetite. That's obviously the most important thing right now, with the dollar yen. Okay, so 120.20, 120.80, and we're in a range environment. Dollar Canadian. So the dollar Canadian, we saw this on Friday, okay, and a couple people commented on it too, and I agreed that this would be a good trade on Sunday if Sunday, Monday, if you bought it at 130.50, and we went down to 130.55, okay. That's a 50% retracement right here and 127% extension of this move. Okay, so 50% retracement, 127% extension. That all comes in at 30.50. That is going to be really key support. All right, 130.50. That's key support right now. As long as the ISM is not disastrous, that's probably not a bad place to be long the Canadian. So in other words, if we get a move that looks like this, like let's just say, argument's sake, okay, if the PMIs come in at the PMIs come in at 50, okay, and the dollar feels a little bit of selling pressure as a result. Okay, we go like this. 130.50 is probably a good place to be long because you could see it just taking out a little bit of stops below here, and then you want to be on the long side. Now, if we get a strong PMI, we could obviously take out previous support, current resistance. So basically, that's going to come in right there. 131 and a quarter, right? 1.3125. Now, let's imagine, okay, let's imagine that it's a really horrible PMI. Okay, so PMI comes in at 49.5, right? Horrible PMI. We'll probably clear 130.50, and then the next target's going to be at 130. Okay, 130 will probably be a decent area to be on the long side of the Canadian, just because it's a round number. It's 161% extension. It's also a 618. I should probably write that down too. So 1.300. Okay. Here, I'll do it like this. Got too many decimal, too many in there. Okay. So 130, 130.50. Both key levels of support on the way back down. All right. All right, let's go over to the Canadian, or excuse me, the Kiwi. So the Kiwi underperforming a little bit due to, Bill English's comments. Just kind of lackluster movement right at the moment. Let's go to the 4-hour chart, because we have this support, this trendline support that's been real significant. Let's remove that. Let's do this. Okay. All right. Let's remove these fibs because we can redraw. That support's going to come in basically at 67 cents, but let's check something. Oh crap, that's not what I want to do. Let's check something really fast, because this happened right here. This spike down happened following the RBNZ decision last week. $0.67 should support, and if it doesn't, okay, probably looks something like that. Okay, 67 cents should support. We're winding up pretty tight here in the Kiwi. Resistance is 68 cents. Okay. Range environment. Okay. Let's check the Aussie. Oops. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Let's check the Aussie dollar. The Aussie, we're boxed in pretty well in the Aussie, aren't we? Now, obviously, post RBA decision today, tonight, one of these two prices are going to get broken, and we don't know which one it is, but one of them will. Okay, hold on, or else real quick. Low high. 618 is right there. Let me remove that really fast. We're in between fibs, pretty much down here. See, this is our daily. We're going to have some support coming through down here if we get there, but for right now, 70, 80, 71.60 You know, we have the potential here of an inverted head and shoulder pattern too. Okay. Like let's say, this is a 4-hour chart. So let's say tonight, the RBA is a little bit more hawkish. They leave rates unchanged, but it seems a little bit more hawkish. We could spike that way. Okay. Same thing. Our reverse could be, RBA keeps rates unchanged. Maybe they even cut. I don't think they're going to cut, but maybe they do. Some analysts have speculated that they might. We break through this support, and we come through here and we start attacking this yellow trend line. There's a lot of different scenarios here. Just so you guys know, about half an hour ago, I liquidated my Aussie dollar short. It was an 18 pip loss, but I got out. I got out at 71.33. So just 2 pips from where we're currently at right now. That I wanted to liquidate it ahead of the RBA today. So 71.60, 70.70, 70.70, 0.7160. Okay, we're in a range. I don't have my dollar index up, but when we get back from break, we will pull up the dollar index. We'll go through that, so don't go anywhere. And then we'll also look at the peso and the Norwegian krone and all that fun stuff. All right, I'll be back in a few moments. Don't go anywhere. Thanks, everyone. All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back. So we have, let's go take a look at the dollar index here. So here's the dollar index. Let's go over to the daily chart. You can see the daily chart. We're basically back, retesting some support. This is going to be really, really key support today, and that comes in whatever the low is right here from the other day. 96.46, so basically 96.45. Very key support. And remember, this 96.45 level, it's basically it's basically the euro at 111. That's really what it is, right? The euro at 111. I mean, if the euro, if the dollar index comes down and we test that level, it's just like the euro dollar hitting 110, 70, 80, getting close to 111. We might dip slightly below it, but you can see that's really going to be key support. All right, and resistance is going to be at 97. All right, 97 is going to be resistance. Now, this is not the same. This is just so you all know, this is not the actual ICE dollar index, okay? But it's the compilation from TradingView, which is a pretty close rendition. It's just not, it's not perfect. It's not the actual Dixie. All right, it's a TradingView rendition of it. All right, since they don't have live data, or they the ICE data costs too much. So okay, so that resistance comes in around 97 for the dollar index. It's not, and like I said, it's not the but 97 is going to be key, because 97, and we're still in a bullish trend here. 97, if we break that, it's breaking back out to the upside. That's kind of like the euro dollar breaking back below 110. Okay, if the euro dollar breaks below 110, 109.90, that's going to put that upside back in play. All right. Okay. So we got the dollar index. We've got we've got all the other majors out there. Let's go over to the peso. Here's the U.S. dollar Mexican peso. We're still stuck right in the middle of this range, but it's worth noting because, when we break out, this is going to be a good move. In which way you slice it, because if you look at the daily chart, first of all, if we break the downside, right, it's going to be a nice short. because look at this blue trend line that comes into play. You see that? So if we break below 1633, I think is what we've been writing down, or 1632. Remember, I'm now trading these. I mean, there are now, I have the ability to trade them, so I'm really excited about that. I just want a good opportunity, right? 1633 key support, resistance 1670 if I remember correctly, 1670, because let's say we take out the upside here. You can see resistance, 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 38% retracement. We break that, we're flying. Okay, so 16.70 key resistance, and we're in a range. Let's go over to the Norwegian krona. I don't think these Nordic currencies are really moving much. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about this. So on Friday, we broke. Now remember, this is a big range too, which, if we would have broke out above 860, it would have been a huge breakout to the upside. That obviously didn't happen on Friday. So let me get rid of that. Okay, so here's the resistance here at 860. Okay, that was key, and hold on really quick. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so resistance here is 852. That's going to be resistance on the way back up. Okay, now let's figure out where support is here, because we are, we slip back into this big range that we have, but just because we're in, what ranges do, and just so you guys are aware of this, and I think most of you probably know this, ranges don't stay ranges forever. If they did, boy, life would be great, right? But ranges, what they end up doing is they end up turning into triangles, or consolidations, pennants. So like if we're eventually going to break out with the US dollar and Norwegian krona, okay, like it's eventually going to happen. We could see like this happen, range, 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 then and then then it breaks to the upside as we develop a pennant, right? That's possible. We could even, we can even, I'm just giving you guys an upside, example. We could even do this. Next thing you know, you're drawing that, and then we got an upside break. That can happen easily. So that's why you got to start figuring out, okay, well, where are the supports here on the way back down, and will we start to form that? Obviously it's going to be dependent on how far we can pull back, but 38% retracement, first logical place for us to stop. That would be around 830, 850. Okay, so US dollar, Norwegian krona, 8.3850. Resistance right now. I mean, if we just turn right here and start heading higher again, then that means it's a very shallow 24% retracement, and we could get really bullish really fast too. So resistance for today will be 852.50. That's probably not a bad place to be on the short side, frankly. 8.5250. Because if you got short right here, you're managing risk very well. Because if you go, if we bounce here, and you get short, your risk is just above here, and then you might be targeting somewhere down here, then looking for another move up. You know what I mean? So this would be probably a really great place to be on the short side for those of you that are, and unless the euro, like I said, unless the euro, or going back to our previous examples, let's say the euro drops below 110, 109.90, then you probably don't want to be on the short side of the key or of the Norwegian krona. Okay, a lot of different options here. U.S. dollar, Swedish krona. So same thing that we're dealing with, and the pullbacks have been minor. I'm really surprised the Swedish krona hasn't pulled back much. It really hasn't. 840, 857, okay. 8.40, and then 857. If for some reason the ISM numbers are much better than expected, the euro dips below 110 and it starts heading lower, you got to look at the Swedish krona. It hasn't backed off. That's the thing. The U.S. dollar Swedish krona looks, it's not selling off despite the dollar weakness that we've seen. It's been very resilient. That probably has more to do with the Riksbank extending quantitative easing last week, even though the initial reaction was down like that. Yeah, this thing still is holding up very, very well. So I'm keeping an eye on it. Obviously, if the dollar starts to strengthen, this is where I want to be. Obviously, I don't mind shorting the euro, but I really would like to buy the U.S. dollar Swedish krona because it's held up so well. Okay, I think that's it. And we have our bias chart. Ooh, what happened here? I got to do something. There we go. Couldn't fit the date in there. Okay, so there's the bias chart. It is done, finished, finito. Let me see if I can take some of your questions.